I'm going to talk to you about the popular types of visas that are available to foreigners that wish to stay in Colombia for more than 6 months. This is not a complete list of all of the visas, but these are the most popular visas that I'm going to talk about. If you like a complete list of the visas, you can also visit our website, which is www.colombia, that's Colombia, visas with an S.com. Okay, let's start off here by talking about a few of the items which are the most important when you're considering which type of visa might be right for you. Now, some people are limited in their options, but it's important to always understand where you should ask for the visa, whether that's inside the country or outside the country. And the country that I'm speaking of is Colombia. So, many types of visas that are related to work or business must be solicited outside of Colombia for the premier vez, the first time. That means you have to go to a consulate or embassy in person and apply for the visa. After that, you can enter Colombia, and when your renewal time is up, you can renew the visa inside of Colombia. Okay, let's start off with the worker visa. This visa is issued at the most for 1 year period. After 5 years, this visa qualifies for permanent residency. Now, there's no monetary qualification as there are with other types of visas. What you must have is a valid contract with a Colombian corporation. The documents must prove that the person applying is a qualified professional in the area in which they will be working. It's preferred that the person has a college degree in that area in which they will be working in Colombia. However, sometimes the consular official may let people by which have a similar degree. It depends totally on the type of work they're doing and the mood that the consular official is in. Now, you cannot work in controlled areas. If you're a professional coming down here that's an economist or an accountant or a doctor, well, you have to get licensed first in order to practice in those fields. And if you are considering working in an economic or financial advising field, please remember those are controlled fields. If you need more information about controlled fields, you can contact us here at colombiavisas.com. The cost for applying for a worker visa is $205 plus the $50 consular fee for reviewing documents. We charge $220 approximately for providing professional immigration services for this visa. Now let's move on to the business visa. The business visa is usually given out for 1 year, although occasionally they do give it out for 2 years. You need a business certificate certified by a foreign government with an apostille and a translation in order to prove that you work for a foreign corporation. The letters have to be signed by the foreign corporation and also by the Colombian corporation that your company will be working with. This visa qualifies family members to be beneficiaries as well if you're going to be staying down here for extended periods of time. However, the business visa is not for people that will be making money in Colombia. You must be gaining money from the foreign entity that you are working for. In other words, the Colombian corporation can pay your corporation, and your corporation must pay you. Now, this visa is free for citizens of the United States. We also charge $220 to process the documents for this visa. We work with people all over the world. It doesn't matter what country you're in. Via the internet, we can help you fill out all the required documents, certified documents, make sure everything is legalized properly so that you will not be denied your visa application. Also, I'd like to mention that as I move down here to the next category, we provide a quick consultation service via internet, via email, or telephone. We can call around the world. If you send us an email, we can contact you and set up a call for only $25 for 30 minutes. We can do a quick analysis of what your needs are and help you understand if you will qualify for a certain visa so that you don't waste your time going to an embassy or consulate just to be turned down. Okay? Now, the next type of visa is a great residency visa. Colombia is looking for and promoting visas for small business owners or larger businesses. And a small business here, let's say you want to come down here and start up a photography studio or an institute for teaching English. Well, you could start up a small home business or taco stand. Not that that's the best idea, but you only need to show that you have a business worth 32,000 US dollars. It's actually 57 million pesos, so the rate can change depending on the exchange rate. Now, the 57 million pesos is what an accountant certifies your business to be worth. Okay, so you can buy a business or start up a new business. Basically, a lot of people come down here and they'll put 57 million pesos into a bank account to get started. They'll get a Colombian business license, and then with your tax ID, a letter from the accountant, you can open up a corporation down here and get yourself a business owner or associate. Some corporations down here have several different owners, but what's important is that your personal share in a corporation is valued at 57 million pesos or more. Now, this rate only applies to the year 2012. Every year this goes up, adjusted for inflation. Usually this is around 3 or 4% more every year. This rate of 57 million pesos is based on the minimum salary in Colombia, which this year is 567,000 pesos. So it's 100 times this rate is how they come up with that number. Long run, in 4 years, this visa will qualify you for permanent residency. Let's move on to one of the most popular visas here in Colombia. That's the pension visa. This visa, after 5 years, qualifies you for permanent residency. The visa is always given out on a yearly basis. You only have to make 1.7 million pesos a month to qualify for this. Roughly, right now, that's a little bit over $900, depending on the exchange rate. When I did this document, I computed this out at 1,800 pesos per dollar. Right now, today, as I do this video presentation, the rate is at 1,840, so it's a little bit cheaper than the rate I have here on the page at 945 US dollars. There's no fee for this visa except for the $50 document review fee. So this should be actually $50. Now, the same with the previous one, there is no visa fee, but last year they put in a $50 fee for document review. And that just covers them from people submitting documents over and over again, so people think a little bit more before they hand in documents. So if you go to a consulate or an embassy, or if you're renewing a visa in Bogota, it's going to cost you $50. We charge $220 to do the pension visa. And I didn't really go into the costs associated with the business owner visa that much because it really does require that you give us a call to understand the fees that we charge for this visa, because there's several different types of corporations someone can open up. It could be a SAS corporation, it could be a sole proprietor type of corporation, and the fees can vary depending on the size of the corporation and the type of corporation. Now, let's go down here to another very popular visa. It's a marriage visa. Now, a couple years ago, the Ministry of Foreign Relations, they started reviewing these types of immigration solicitudes more carefully. These applications came under scrutiny because everyone found it was just way too easy just to go marry a friend and get a visa. Well, now you're required to go to Bogota or a consulate and do a personal interview. And with a personal interview here in Colombia, they take both couples, both persons in the couple, and separate the people out. While the persons are separated, they'll ask them basic questions about the relationship to make sure it's a bona fide relationship. This visa costs $175 plus $50 for the document review fee, which puts it around what, $220, right? So we have it's a $225 fee you have to pay for the visa itself, and then a $220 fee if you want us to process the documents for you. By the way, we help type up all the letters and help people fill out the forms so there's no errors. And when you go in, you can go ahead and, if you show up in Bogota at the Ministry of Foreign Relations at 7:30 in the morning when doors open, you can be out of there in an hour, hour and a half. If you go later in the day, you're going to be there 3 or 4 hours. But they issue the visa the same day. And the renewals can be done via mail with a service like ours, which is a registered trámite service in Colombia, a legal document processing service. Moving on down here to the rentista visa. The rentista visa has a duration of 1 year. This is where you can certify that you have fixed income coming in on a monthly basis, such as it comes from a trust fund or a financial institution. This visa is a visa that is not given out that much. It's not something that people will qualify for easily just because they have a job overseas and they can show that they earn this much money. They want something that's more secure. They want something coming from a trust fund or a government organization in order to get this approved, generally speaking. Of course, we have consular officials that if they think you're coming down here in the best interest of the best interest of Colombia, they will give you this visa. Okay, moving on down here, let's wrap this up real quick here. Again, the rentista visa, we covered that. There is a $50 fee. All visas have a $50 fee now, and we charge the typical $220 or 395,000 pesos. Okay. Now the investor's visa is growing exponentially. There's so many people coming to Colombia and investing in Colombia because it's the best emerging market in the Americas, in South America, North America. It's incredible. With the free trade agreement opening up, we have seen an immense number of people coming down here, investing in homes, in stocks, in bonds, in small corporations. A lot of people are coming down here and they find it difficult to buy a $200,000 house for themselves, but they find a house that's $150,000 or $100,000. Well, what they're doing is creating corporations, and with those corporations, they are purchasing property under the name of the corporation, and that way they get the investor visa. The investor visa is great. Why? Because it's basically a permanent visa. However, in 3 years, you have to show that you still have your foreign investment. By that I mean if you buy a house in 3 years, you have to show that you still have that house, or you maintain your investment for the entire 3 years. After you've maintained your investment for 3 years, you can get rid of it if you wanted to. There's probably not a reason to do that anyways. But you can also invest in stocks, and the same thing goes with stocks. You have to be able to show that you have kept your $100,000 invested in Colombia for 3 years, and after you show that in 3 years, your visa becomes permanent. The only thing you have to do is renew your picture, and that picture is on the cedula. All right. I just want to make a couple of notes down here. Colombia is an evolving country. It's getting more and more developed every year. So with that comes good things. We're seeing more security. We're seeing more investments from overseas. Well, with more money and more security and a more modern society comes new laws and new rules. So year by year, we see changes with the visas and the policies around visas and foreigners. And a lot of them have been for the best. But you have to be aware that things can change without notice. and usually they're not drastic changes. They're just changes for the better of the country. But small policy changes can affect individual solicitudes for visas. So it's always good that you use a professional agency such as Visas y Trámites Internacionales and watch the website colombiavisas.com, because when we hear of a new change affecting a particular type of visa, we will post that information on our website. We are the #1 website in the country with the most information on visas in Colombia. Not to mention, we specialize in residency visas for the United States and Spain as well. Aside from that, we have visas for tourism to more than 30 different countries. So if you meet a Colombian friend that you want to take across the world with you, check our website out for the requirements. All right. Thank you for stopping by. If you have any questions, visit our website at colombiavisas.com or send me an email directly at james@colombiavisas.com. Have a nice day. Thank you.